I thought long and hard about doing this tonight because, you know, my book is all about selling, and quite a few people have said to me, you know, should we be selling right now? You know, I'm really fearful of not being sincere, and, you know, people aren't listening and people aren't buying, and, you know, no one's really interested. And so I sort of thought long and hard about it. And I really thought that it's a message for me that hasn't changed. It hasn't changed from when I started writing my book, and it hasn't changed for me now. And that is that anyone who needs to sell, and that's pretty much all of us really, particularly in a business or working for others, we sell our ideas, and we sell our thoughts, and we sell, you know, decisions to our family members and friends all day, every day. So selling in a sincere way, selling with authenticity and bringing your heart-led values to the table is what we should be doing anyway. And today more so than ever. You know, your customers have changed, the market has changed, a lot of things have changed, but for businesses, we still need to keep them rolling. We still need to keep those wheels turning because, you know, historically salespeople have really driven the economy through keeping business moving. And the more that we can all do that and save jobs, or even help businesses to get to the point where they can reignite those jobs when times get better, it's really important. So thank you for joining. It's a celebration as well. You know, I've got my balloons, I've got my champagne, I had a bit of music going, so I'm feeling cool. I'm joined by a couple of fantastic people to help me along tonight. And so I'm going to just hand straight over to Zoe Sparks from Shine Businesswomen to kick us off officially.
Hi everybody, so great to see you all. I've actually got it on the view where I can see all the little boxes, and there are so many fantastic people online here right now, and thank you so much for joining us. You've got no idea how much this means to us. For Kim and I, you know, a virtual event, it's one of our first. We're really excited. We really wanted to get it out there, and I've had the privilege of knowing Kim now for almost 3 years, and have followed her on her book journey for most of the way through. And this lady is dynamic. She's amazing. She's a terrific mentor to so many. She has so much knowledge. And I can honestly say that having the great fortune of having a sneak preview and a bit of a read of this book, this is going to make a massive difference in the coming months. It is amazing, and it will help so many people. And I, for one, am really grateful and thankful that she is choosing to launch it now, because I know how great this is going to be for people in small business. Now, I do want to acknowledge and thank a couple of special guests that have made it online tonight. Thank you. So Tony Hughes has joined us online from Sydney. He's a best-selling author and #1 sales influencer for the Asia Pacific region. He wrote the foreword for Kim's book. And other well-known endorsers are Tim Reed, the host of the Big Little Marketing Show, Shah Moore, CEO of YMAG, Jeb Blount, best-selling author and CEO of Sales Gravy. And we've got people online from the USA, UK, India, and from all around Australia. It's brilliant to see you here. Now, a person who is always absolutely amazing on any book journey is Ocean Reeve. So I'd like to introduce you to him now from Ocean Reeve Publishing. Here he is.
So I hope everybody can see me okay. Is that all good? Sweet as. Okay, kia ora everybody. My name is Ocean, and I am the CEO of Ocean Reeve Publishing, and I've had the privilege of working with Kim and having our team work with Kim and bringing this book to life, and it's been an awesome journey. One of the things I just want to identify is when we do a book launch, naturally we're usually all together, like Kim said, we're having a bit of a party, have a few speakers, have a bit of a dance and a drink. And one of the problems we've got at the moment is we can't obviously be in groups of more than 2. So that's a bit of a quandary when it comes to, should we do this, should we not do this? And it really comes down to what the topic of the book is. It really does. It comes down to the impact and the inspiration behind that title and behind the author and what they're hoping to achieve with that. So when we had an earlier discussion a few days ago about this, I didn't even think twice. As far as I was concerned, this book needed to be launched. The pivotal reason why is we are all aware on a global level, there are a lot of small businesses, even some of the bigger businesses that are suffering right now. When Corona is over, we are all going to reinvigorate ourselves. We're going to pick up where we left off, and we're going to try and rebuild a lot of what we've lost. To do that, we're going to need resources, we're going to need tools, we're going to need inspiration, we're going to need empowerment, and that's going to come from fresh and new authors, people, and obviously these sort of books that are coming out are going to be immensely valuable to us at that time. So seeing Selling with Heart come out now, there could actually be no better time. There couldn't be a better time, because as a business owner myself, as somebody that's in emotion-based sales, I'm going to be one of the first people to sit back as I'm in self-isolation and read this book. So without a doubt. I do want to say that I think that bringing a book to life is one of the most powerful forms of creative expression you can ever undertake. Without a doubt. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've seen the change in people when they write, when they're standing there holding their book in their hands for the first time, and when they're having a launch, when they're sharing this experience with as many people as they can. And you know what? I'm with Zoe and with Kim on this one, because to have people around the world, this usually wouldn't happen. It would be who could make it to the event, who could be there on the night, have we got other things going on? Well, hey, look, well, we don't, do we? We're here and we're celebrating this fantastic experience that Kim has gone through in bringing a book to life. It's not easy. Believe it or not, it's not easy to write a book. Just ask Zoe. She's done 4 of them. So at the end of the day, it takes a bit of commitment, a bit of belief, and definitely you need to act on what your vision is. And Kim is somebody that lives and breathes this. So as the CEO of ORP, as the guy that leads a team of 10, 11 fantastic people, big shout out to Flash, who actually ran the publishing journey for this. We're very proud of Kim and what she's achieved. We think everybody needs to buy a copy for themselves, and also buy a copy for a small business owner right now that we know is suffering. And that act, that genuine act of kindness to just make sure that that business owner gets a copy of that book, wow, it could be what changes the game for them when we all come out of this. Hey, I want to say thank you for listening to me. I'm so pleased to be a part of this. I'll give it back to Zoe now. So thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ocean. And honestly, Ocean, I've had the privilege, absolute privilege, of working with him for at least 5 years now, and him and Flash are truly amazing. They help you through the whole journey. They help you bring your book to life. And I, for one, again, I'm really thankful that Kim's book has come to life right now, because honestly, it's what the world needs. Exactly perfect timing in my eyes. So it's time to introduce you to the wonderful lady herself. As a coach, trainer, facilitator, author, and keynote speaker, Kim Cousins enables salespeople, entrepreneurs, and sales leaders to cut through the hype and bring back the heart-based connection that smart sales are built from, empowering them to grow business with authenticity and trust, and without uncomfortable hard sales or gimmicky gigs. And that's the absolute beauty of this book. Kim's passion for enabling success and developing people in the areas of sales, marketing, communication, and leadership stems from over 20 years of leadership, sales enablement roles in the corporate sector, where she led teams in some of the world's most recognizable IT brands across Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia, and North America. As founder and director of Sprout Enablement, a national training consultancy based in Queensland, Kim draws on this background, as well as the use of evidence-based psychometric assessments, to train, coach, and mentor her clients to deliver. In 2019, Kim was named one of YMAG's 2019 Women of Influence. She's recently appeared in Profile magazine and the Feminine Founders TV show. She's a regular expert contributor for Shine Business Women. I wanted to introduce you to her right now, because you need to understand how amazing this lady is and how much knowledge that she has to share. So for the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to ask Kim some questions and let her talk about the book, bring it to life, and let you know what it's all about. And also, we're giving you the opportunity to ask questions. So if you've got a question that you'd like to ask, or for me to put forward to Kim, please pop it in the chat box, and we'll make sure that we put that through if we've got time. So now I'm going to introduce you to Kim.
Hi, everyone. Yes. Thank you, Zoe. Look, that sounded all pretty amazing, but I have to tell you that one of my strengths is not technology. And even though I've worked for technology companies pretty much my whole sales career, I was very fortunate that I had the guys and girls in the next office who were the techno gurus. Now, the thing is, when I'm in my home office, as I am now, or my home studio, as I call it, I don't have that luxury. So the Facebook live stream wasn't quite, that was a bit beyond us tonight. And I really wanted to just click straight into the trailer for my book, which is a video. So if you would just give me a moment, I'd really like to play that trailer of the book first, and then we can just go into some Q&A. So if you would like to simply bear with me.
That's fantastic. And hopefully we can get the trailer up and running, because it really is terrific. It gives you a great little overview. So just checking in with you all right now. Are you in party mood? Have you all got your glass to celebrate Kim on this journey? She's so wanted a huge party, and we still may do that down the track when we're out and about, but for now, this great online way is a great way to talk to you all.
Here we go. Let's give it a whirl.
Selling is not a dirty word. Let's face it, selling often gets a bad rap. But to be successful in business, you have to sell. Today, more than ever, buyers are craving human-to-human contact and the meaningful connections that have been lost in the big wide world of overly curated social media and impersonal chatbots. This book is all about reclaiming that connection by getting back to the basics of attracting and retaining loyal customers, being confident in your sales interactions, and creating a winning mindset. You will uncover your heart-led values and natural sales superpowers so that you can authentically share your expertise with the world and improve your customers' lives and businesses. This book will help you discover your passion for being of service to your customers, how to feel natural, authentic, relaxed and excited about selling, the courage to develop and promote yourself as a unique selling proposition and differentiator in the market.
Fantastic. How good is that?
I got a thumbs up from Tony, so I'm pretty pleased with that. 2 thumbs up. Thank you. Awesome.
Selling with Heart. What an amazing title for a book, because people don't often think about heart and selling in the same thing. So tell us, Kim, what inspired you to write Selling with Heart?
Okay, so gee, I could talk for an hour about what's behind the book, but there's a couple of things. I guess I always knew I wanted to write a book, and I didn't quite know what it was going to be about until about 2 years ago, in fact, that I was in a women's networking event. And it was a small business, a fairly young crowd, and it was one of those events where everybody sits around the table and each person stands up and gives their pitch about what their business is about. And as we worked our way around the table, there was a young lady who sat there and said, "Oh, I can't get up. I can't talk about myself. I can't sell myself." And I sort of started to pay attention, and we all said, no, it's a great, it's a safe place for you. Come on, stand up so we can hear you. And she said, "Oh, I'm a beautician." And I thought I better help this girl. So I asked her some questions, and I said, "Well, you're a beautician. So what is it that you love about being a beautician?" She says, "Oh, I like the transformation I make for my client from when she walks in the door to when she walks out. You know, I can change her day. I can change her mood. I can change everything about not only her appearance, but I can change the way that she walks out of my salon." And I won't go into all the detail, but I guess at that moment I thought to myself, there's a couple of things here. One is I can help people feel more confident. People in business feel more confident. I can teach them how to do an elevator pitch. But more importantly, I can help them to understand how what she did was selling, but it didn't feel like selling to her. And so if she can get past that mindset of I'm selling, and just understand how she is of service to her customers, what she does for them and what outcomes she gets for her customers, then, you know, more and more salespeople can be the way that they should be anyway, which is of service to their customers. Because, you know, I've worked for many, many years, way back, where selling to a great extent was different. Selling was, you say this, you do that, you are this type of person, you follow this process. and you'll hit your sales figures. Never once in the sales training that I had did they talk about what effect we had for the customer. It was all about selling the product. But I wasn't taught to understand my customer particularly well. I wasn't taught how to understand my strengths particularly well. But in the 21st century, which is where we are now, when we understand ourselves better and what it is that we have to offer, we then know what it is that we can do for our clients, our customers. And it's not selling at all. It's not like the bad stereotypes that we've all seen, right? And we often joke about used car salesmen and sometimes real estate salespeople, and I'm sorry if you're on the line tonight. But that's last century. You know, I really wanted to, and there's lots and lots of books out there about selling processes. I get that. But this is all about, rather than following a process, but understanding who you are and what you have to offer so that, you know, it sits well for you. And if it sits well for you, then you're going to be very natural and very authentic in the way that you deliver your sales interaction, and connect with the customer so that you can build that level of trust, which is what we all need to do, right?
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's a long answer to your question. Sorry, Zoe.
No, but it's good. We want to hear from you. We want to do all this. And as I say, having had the chance to read, you use so many examples and you talk about different ways. And you know, a lot of us, and I'm sure a lot of people who are watching tonight, we have been selling and doing things for a lot of years. And I learned so much, especially in this time where we're all pivoting, changing, looking at what we do. It's a really valuable resource, as Ocean referred to before. So who should be reading Selling with Heart? Is it for everybody?
Look, I think it's for everybody, of course. I think it's for everybody who needs to sell. And as I said right at the beginning, we all need to sell. But I've met so many people in business who don't think they need to sell, who think they need to pay a lot of money to a marketing company, come up with a beautiful brand and a fantastic social media campaign, and that the leads will just come to them. Okay, and they think that that's going to sell for them. And, you know, I really talk about in the book the differences between marketing and selling. And then a lot of people also ask me, how do I close the sale? And they just think, you know, Kim, can you just give me tips about closing a sale? It's about all those other things you do in terms of that connection and relationship and a whole bunch of things that, you know, if you have to close the sale, then you haven't done all of those things in the first place. So who needs it? You know, if someone's working for a large corporate company and they, you know, really need to understand what they offer over and above that company, the company's approach, the company's brand, the company's product, where they can inject their own value, their own expertise into their relationship, this is a great read for them. If it's someone who is perhaps very new to selling and they are working for somebody and they may not have the access to the amazing sales training and development programs that I've had, this is a good way to start to think about, well, it's not just the selling process, but it's how I develop myself as well. And then there are the small business people. And I guess a lot of this started for me when I moved to the Sunshine Coast. And the Sunshine Coast has the highest concentration of small businesses per capita of anywhere in Australia. And I really had a passion to help a lot of the local business people and a lot of my friends, just my buddies, you know, the mums that I've met at school. A lot of people have a small business. Some of them are side hustles. Some of them are businesses that they want to grow. And I've really, you know, I get a real buzz out of helping people make some tweaks, make some little changes in a way that works for them so that they can actually achieve their goals in business, but also it helps them personally as well.
Yeah, no, that's great. And is now the right time to be selling with everything that's going on in the world?
You know, selling during tough times, we've done it before. We have nothing like this. Let's just say, if you approach selling with a positive intent, why not? If you can keep your business alive, and if you have something that helps someone else keeps their business alive, or helps someone else reduce costs, improve their processes, help them in their life, then why not? Why not? Because if we all shut down and retreat to a corner and hide, it's all worth nothing then. You know, we'll come out of this, and if everybody has just gone, no, it's all too hard, we'll come out of this and there'll be nothing left. We have to keep as much going as possible. And now with the government's stimulus packages, many packages, you know, a lot more people are going to be able to keep the dreams alive, keep their purpose alive, and keep their business alive. Because, you know, it's one thing to get some money from the government so that we can keep our families. But, you know, what are we, a couple of weeks in, or I know I'm a week into my daughter doing online study at home, and she's a real extrovert. She's normally out, but she says, oh, Mum, I'm bored already. And she's about to head into holidays. God knows how long the holidays are going to be. And so I've said, okay, her name's Brooke. I said, after tonight, once my book launch is done, tomorrow we're going to start looking at some things to do and some things to achieve, and to continue to say, you know, so that we can tick off our actions. And I'm not saying everyone has to be busy all the time. I'm just saying that when we come out of this, if we've done nothing, then the battle has been worth nothing. And, you know, the more we keep things alive, the better it is for everybody. So it's how you sell. It's, you know, I've always been about sincerity and authenticity. Now's not the time for hard sell. Now's the time to continue to connect with your customers. It's the time to pick up the phone and ring your customers and just say, hi, how's it going? Don't have an agenda. Just say, how's it going? I'm here for you. What can I do to help? It's also time to look at the customers that you want to perhaps be bringing on, your prospective customers, and ring them as well and say, look, I just want to see how things are going for you. And, you know, we're finding that people are picking up the phone because people want to speak to somebody. It's great doing this online stuff. We love it. I particularly love it. I always do it anyway. I'm used to online, doing my business online. But I've made a real point of picking up the phone, and people are responding because people need to reach out. And if you don't ask the question, how you're going, they're never going to tell you if you've never asked the question. They might say, you know, I'm really glad you called because, and I'm going to use an example. I was thinking about a really good example that I could use tonight. And I'm thinking about videographers. Okay, they've got to be the flavour of the month, right? Tonight, when I knew that I couldn't have a party, I thought, well, I could invite a videographer in and a couple of tech guys, and we can set this up and make this really schmick. But as time goes on, I realised that I'm not actually going to be able to have anybody come in and help me, and it's all up to me. But after this, and I get my recording with Zoom, I might need the services of a good video person to slice and dice. And I've been talking to a couple of video guys over the last, or guys and girls over the last few months, just about different things. And you know what, if one of them just happened to phone me up tomorrow and said, hey, how's things going? How did you go with your book launch? I might say, I'm glad you called, because you know what, you might be able to help me. That's an example of what I mean by just phone them up. You know, if it's not the right time, someone will tell you. So, you know, it can be the right time to be selling.
Yeah, no, definitely. And people are loving that. Looking at the chat, and sorry, I'm leading in a bit, but guys, people are talking about loving the idea of personal calls. I know you talk a lot in your book about personalities and personal branding. And if people really think about it and tap into some of these new resources that are coming out, there's a whole range of new opportunities out there, isn't there? There really is. Now keep your questions coming. I've got one in here from Tony. Question for Kim. What typically creates stress in selling, and what are best tips for being able to relax in the process?
Oh, Tony, thank you so much for that question. What creates stress? Stress creates, I think, from being unconfident, unconfident, is the right word? I've only had 2 bits of champagne tonight. So when you're not confident in yourself, and when you're not confident in your message, you start to get nervous. When you're not confident about who is your customer or what you can do for them, then you'll get a lot of stress around, what am I going to say? Can I pick up the phone? how do I approach this? So, your customer might have changed, or who you typically sell to may have changed right now. If they haven't changed, then their market probably has changed. And so if you don't know that about them, and you try and sell the same way you've always sold, they'll probably put up a brick wall. What was the second part of the question? Sorry, Zoe.
Part of the question was, what are best tips for being able to relax in the process?
Well, I think it's being prepared, but it's knowing all of those things. And it's also about understanding what the value is that you bring to the table. The way to relax is to understand that you are there to get an outcome for your customer. You're not there just to make a sale. You're there to make an outcome for them. And you're there to be of service to them and improve their life or improve their business. That's the way you relax. Because I had a client come to me about a year ago, and she says, Kim, I just can't pick up the phone. I've got this one customer that I really want to target, but I can't pick up the phone. Can you write a script for me? And I said, well, yeah, I can, but we have to really understand what it is that you're trying to achieve for them. Well, I don't know. I just want to sell my product. I don't know how to talk about my product. And I said, well, don't talk about your product. Get on the phone and ask them questions about how, how you can work together to improve their business. Because if you're asking questions of them and trying to understand them, they're doing the talking. You don't have to think about what to say next. And it's much more relaxing because you're there and you're following on questions, you're getting to know them. And then you can say, well, this is how we can work together.
Sorry, I haven't vanished. I muted myself because we were getting a little bit of feedback from me when you were talking, and obviously I don't want to interrupt that, so I will mute myself. A couple of other questions. So in the book, you talk about biggest fears and challenges. Talk about that a little bit, because obviously fear of rejection and things like that is usually or often what can hold people back.
Yeah, fear of rejection. And, when people say, oh, gee, I fear rejection, well, what is it that they're rejecting? And if they're not rejecting you, the person, they're rejecting the product, they're rejecting what you've just said, they're rejecting your service or your offer, because you obviously haven't positioned it in a way that is value to them. And you only do that by asking the questions, as I mentioned before. So a lot of people say, oh, I fear rejection. I fear if they say no. Well, if I say, well, they're not rejecting you personally. So they say no, move on to the next one, do a better job next time. Some people have a fear of rejection for other reasons. And it could be something to do with something in childhood, something with a relationship. There's a whole, there could be a whole psychological mindset behind that fear of rejection that may not have anything to do with selling. And sometimes, we talk about a winning mindset and a success mindset in selling. It comes down to that, is to understand what you're fearful of. The other thing that people are fearful of is, as I mentioned before, just not knowing what to say. And it comes down to the work is done before you get to that point in talking to the customer. The work is done around understanding your ideal customer, understanding your value narrative, understanding all of the things that you can do to help, understanding the industry, understanding other customers and how you've been able to help them. All of that gives you a lot of confidence to then be an expert in your field and to go and talk to that new client about ways that you can help them. So there's a couple of fears there. Other fears are around not making their number. They've got a lot of pressure behind them. People, that depends who they're working for. There's pressure around. There can be just a whole bunch of things. Now, I guess we've got to talk about selling today, which to a great extent is going to be done like this, right? And I'm just, without even asking a question, I want to launch straight into selling online like this. Now, if you notice that I'm trying to look at the camera, and if I don't look at the camera and I look down at myself speaking on screen, I break the connection. And because I'm all about human connection, and in my book I talk about being face-to-face or being on the phone as much as possible, you know, if I was writing the book today, I'd have to talk a lot about online. So get online, get good at the tech, she says, as she's learning. Think about your camera, think about background, think about your audio, think about your lighting and all those sorts of things to help with that human connection. Because if you're going to have a meeting online and you're looking down at your computer and you've got a window behind you and you're dark at the face and you've got God knows what behind you, it's going to detract from the value that you add yourself. So there's a little bit of a tip.
Yep, no, that's great. Now we've got another question from the floor, and then I will make sure I ask, there's one question that I definitely want to ask you. But first of all, from Luigi, how do we change the perception of sales with prospects who have had a negative experience?
You have to be of service. You have to be, you have to keep adding value to them before you even think about the sale. What I mean by that is continue to be of service, keep in contact, ask if they're okay, give them information, give them value in the time that they spend with you. In the old days, we used to do a lot of relationship selling. It's all still based on relationship, but relationship selling was all about getting to see your customer as often as possible, inviting them out for lunch as often as possible, taking them to the golf days, taking them away on overseas conferences, and basically having a great time so that they become your best friends. Well, no one's got time for that. No one needs more friends. We call that a professional visitor. Now we don't have as much time, and we have even less time, and we have less ability for the connection because we've got this online way of working now. So continuing to add the value, the insights, and giving them something that no one else can give them. You're probably in a competitive environment, and what you can do over and above your competitor is what's going to set you apart. And as at today, doing that with sincerity, and being guided by them and what they need today is the best way to continue to be successful. Because those that don't pick up the phone and ask how you're going, those that don't have any extra insights and value about how life is right now for them are going to fall by the wayside. The cream's going to rise to the top. And if you continue to position yourself as the expert, someone who has been successful with other customers in what it is that you have to offer, and being able to connect with them in a way that sees them achieve their outcomes in a predictable way through working with you.
Okay, now we don't have too much time left, but I will say to everyone, if anyone else does have a question to put in, please pop it in there, because just in case if we do fall off, that Kim will make sure that she does answer them. If not straight away, then she'll send them to you or via Facebook or however she wants to do. I do have to ask you as a last question though, because it's one of my favourites. Who makes the best salesperson? An introvert or an extrovert?
Okay, I knew you'd ask that question.
We talk about it often.
We do. So for those of you who may not have really had a lot of exposure to the words introvert and extrovert, let me give a little bit of a position about it. There is a psychometric assessment called the Myers-Briggs assessment that essentially looks for patterns in human behaviour and associates particular personality styles to those patterns in behaviour. There are many different aspects, and I could speak for hours about it, and I am a Myers-Briggs certified practitioner. So it looks for what is natural and innate to you. It's basically what you're born with, what's in your DNA. Some of you may have heard of DISC and a whole bunch of other different assessments that look at behaviours. Myers-Briggs looks at what is your core personality. And it doesn't matter whether you live in USA, India, Australia, male, female, that doesn't matter, it's what's in your DNA. So two components of that are introverts and extroverts. And often people think of introverts as very shy, quiet, sometimes socially awkward people. And a lot of people think about extroverts as being very loud, very talkative, very in your face. That could be true, but it is not necessarily true. The main differences between them are the way that they give and receive energy. So an introvert looks internally to process information. An extrovert looks externally to process information and to recharge their energy. So for example, an introvert could be at work all day long, could in fact be very loud and talkative and bubbly, perhaps, or not. But maybe at the end of the day, they like to come home and spend some quiet time recharging their batteries. An extrovert, on the other hand, could have a quiet job or a very expressive job. And then at the end of the day, they like to continue being expressive and perhaps may go to a party and continue to be surrounded by lots of people. Generalizations. And I often talk about an introvert thinks, talks, then thinks. An extrovert talks, then thinks, then talks. So they'll say something and then think about what they've said. An introvert will think about something, then say it, and then think about the effect of it. I hope that gives a bit of a differentiation. So in selling, in salespeople, and I've heard this going way back, you'd often say, and actually, I'll tell you quite frankly, I can remember probably, way back, doesn't matter when, I overheard my boss say to another manager, oh, she's too timid. No, don't consider her for the promotion. And I just sort of went, whoa, I'm not timid. I might be a little quiet at times, but oh no, when I'm really passionate about something, I can be very extroverted or very expressive about it. And so there has been a bit of a stereotype around salespeople that they should all be very talkative, very extroverted. But the thing is, our customers aren't all extroverted customers. Our customers are introverts and extroverts. Extroverts like to talk. Introverts typically like to write. Some customers like to talk through sales meetings. Other customers who may be introverts like to have a meeting, have it in writing, follow up with the detail. The thing is, the best salesperson is one who can do all of those things. So there is a natural tendency, I'm an introvert, I have a natural tendency to want to write, and I have to really think about how I can be expressive and talk to my customers. So what I like to do is I plan for that. On the flip side, an extrovert goes in there and talks and then has to go back and perhaps to some extent have to really think about following up with an email. That's just an example. So to answer your question, Zoe, who makes the best salesperson? It's really someone who can marry up all of those things, someone who can look at the details as well as the big picture, someone who can look at the processes as well as the feelings of people and balance out a whole bunch of things, and someone who's really aware of what their strengths are and how they can recognize that in their customers, so that if they recognize that their customer is an introvert, but they're an extrovert, if they can recognize it, then they think, right, okay, I need to make sure that I give the proposal with detailed in writing to balance that all. So a salesperson who can be aware of all those things, who can be aware of how they are, so that they don't, if you have an introvert customer and an extroverted salesperson who just talks and talks and talks and talks and talks, that customer might get a bit jacked off after a while. So the flip side can be true as well. So it's a bit of both. And it's really someone who cares enough to want to be the best they can be by recognizing those things.
I love that answer. Absolutely love that answer. Now there is one more question in there, and I'm conscious that we're running close to time now. But I will ask this one question if I can for Roxy, and then I'll let you go straight into your thank yous, because I am muting myself when you're talking so that people aren't getting any feedback from me. So Roxy's question is, Kim, please, given the current climate, how do you suggest is the best way to navigate financial objections?
Oh, Roxy, thanks for that one. Financial objections. If you've got a financial objection after having had, spoken to your client at length, then I don't think you've done the work up front to really know that it's going to be a financial objection. If you've run through the gamut of your sales process and they say, yeah, that's great, but I can't afford it right now. Look, that's perfectly fine. Okay, is this something that, you need to be really sure that it's something that they do want or need. And maybe right now it's okay. Park it. I'm here for you. And then continue that relationship through checking on them. In the current climate, it might be something that comes up more often. It doesn't mean don't have the relationship, don't have that discussion in the first place. I think it's something you need to have. That discussion about financials perhaps has to come a little earlier so that you haven't wasted a whole lot of your time. Now, it's never a waste of your time if you are engaging with your customer. But as a generalisation, if you get that financial objection, then they've not seen the value in what you have. And right now, if they're not seeing the value in what you have, it's because they don't need it right now. It's not something that can help them right now. Whether it's today or whether it's last month or in 6 or 8 months' time, I would answer that question exactly the same way.
This is really cool. I am actually going to get everybody to raise a glass to you shortly, but is there anything you'd like to say? We're so engaged by what you've got to say, and I'm conscious of time as well. We could listen to you talk forever, but this is why everybody has to go and get the book. And obviously we're going to give you the book details in a moment, but are there people you'd like to thank, Kim, or things you'd like to say?
Well, look, there's a whole bunch of people I'd like to thank, and it's been an interesting, fantastic journey of writing a book. I never thought I could write a book. I actually found that I could write, but I didn't know much about how to bring the book to life. So Ocean Reeve, you know that I'm forever grateful to you, but also your team. And I know some of your team are on the call tonight. Each one of them are so good at what they do, and you should really feel proud of the team. They've certainly they've had my back all along the way. We've had some ups and downs and some stop-start, and, I actually still waiting for the box to arrive, but that's another story. So thank you so much. Look, Zoe, I have to thank you because it was actually, it's 18 months, nearly 2 years ago. Zoe put an amazing 2-day conference called Shine Business Women's Conference. And God, I learned so much from so many people that day. It really opened my eyes to the possibilities for me. And Ocean was there doing his presentation about writing a book. And so the inspiration started back then. And I just knew I wanted to write a book. And it wasn't until I went to that networking event that I knew what I wanted to write the book about. So I want to thank both of you. There's some other people on the call that have been very inspiring to me of late. Tony and Luigi and a couple of the others from Sales IQ. I've learned a lot from you guys just in the short space of time that we've been together. Tony, we go back a little further than that, and I think we've always been on the same wavelength in our different guises along the way. I think we probably speak each other's language a lot. I've stolen your words, you've stolen mine, it's all good. My family's been very supportive, of course. Roxy locally has been a great inspiration, not only to me, but to lots of other aspiring authors in the local area. And look, Vicky Magic is on the line. There's a whole bunch of people, and I want to thank all of you for making the time tonight, basically. And I really appreciate your support.
There are so lots of lovely comments coming in, which you can read on the chat later on. They're flowing in now. Now, before everybody goes, we need to tell you about the book, but I'm going off script. And I'm looking at the gallery shots. Can I ask you all, just very quickly, while I do a big cheers and celebration to Kim, can I ask you to put your videos so I can see your faces? So show your videos. That's it. Doesn't matter what you look like, but I want to take a photo and I want to Kim, if you click on gallery, if you haven't already, make sure you can see all these people that are here.
I'm just, thank you for that. I'm just looking at a few people. Thank you so much. I did say you don't need to put your video on, but those great people, I've got Susanna, I've got Kelly and Julie and a whole bunch of people. Oh my God. I didn't scroll across until now.
No, I know. There's lots of people on. So could you all raise a glass and please say a big congratulations to Kim. This is an amazing book. I'm thrilled that you asked me to be your MC. Thank you very much. It's a great honour. I've loved sharing the journey with you as to how you've put it together. I know it's going to be fantastic for a lot of people as well. So a big cheers and congratulations.
Cheers.
Thank you.
And
cheers back. Cheers back.
I do have a streamer.
Snowy.
All right, so Kim, do you want to put
Congratulations!
everyone how they can purchase this amazing book and they can take a snapshot so they've got all the details?
Okay, all right. Just give me a moment while I share. I thought my tech days were finished.
And a massive thank you while Kim is doing this.
That's not the one. That's not the one I wanted to share
Today.
Sorry.
Well done, Kim.
Thanks, Josh. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me.
Now, Kim's slide will come up in a moment, but just to let you know, if you jump into kimcousins.com, you can grab the pre-order price is still available and it will be until the end of the week, where the books are $19.95 each. That link's going to stay open for a couple of days, but make sure that you do grab your copy. I promise you, you won't regret it. As I say, I've been selling for a long, long time now, over 30 odd years. And I learned so much from this book, so much to help me going forward. So it doesn't matter what stage you're at, whether you've been selling for a long time, whether you're just starting out, this book's going to really, really help you. And particularly in the current climate, it really is important. Now, Kim also is offering, for anyone who's been online today, she's offering a complimentary 30-minute sales strategy session with you via phone or Zoom, of course. So if you're interested in that, again, make sure you reach out to Kim, drop her a line. I'm sure she'll keep in touch with everyone as well. She knows what she's doing. But you can check out all these details at www.kimcousins.com. So all that remains for me to say is thank you so, so much for joining us tonight. We're absolutely thrilled that so many of you came out to support Kim. There we go, the gallery shot again, looks impressive. So thanks again. Kim, do you want to say good night, over and out?
I do, but I think I should get a shot as well. How do I get everybody on? Oh yeah, there we go, gallery shot. All right. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, everyone's got their video on. Good, oh, fantastic. Thank you all so much for that. This has been fun. Look, this is the new world. This is how we do business, right? This is how we get connection. Doesn't cost much to get a good light and a good microphone and a whiteboard right there so I can cheat as I go. It's all good. I really appreciate your support. I wish you all the very, very best in your home offices. Stay safe. Stay well, and I hope to see you on screen or on the phone. You know, don't be a stranger. We're all here to help each other through this. Let's keep business alive. Let's keep selling and use your heart. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Grab your copy of your book.